Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to Coffee with the Mayor and City Manager. I'm Mayor Cal Sheehy, joined by City Manager Jessica Knudsen.
Happy Friday, everybody.
We're glad after our summer hiatus to be back in person on the wrong week, but today's Friday, September 12th, and we will resume our regular schedule of the first Friday next month. So our next coffee will be on October 3rd, which will be the first Friday in October. So again, welcome and thank you so much for being here. We have a whole lot to update everyone on all of the great things that have been happening in Lake Havasu City over the last couple of months and into the future of what's happening. But I'd be remiss if we didn't start the coffee with the medians on the highway, because everyone's talking about that everywhere you go. So I figured we'd just start right out the gate with those medians. State Route Highway 95 is just that. It's a state route. So ADOT, or the Arizona Department of Transportation, is responsible for maintaining that roadway. They're responsible for the safety features of that roadway. They're responsible for the traffic signals on that roadway. And so obviously it's the only way in and out of Lake Havasu City. So we collaborate with ADOT as best we can to ensure that our motorists and the users of the highway and our road network have a symbiotic relationship. So we try to have the timing of the lights, and we try to work on the maintenance of those areas and advocate for those types of things. So with the medians, it actually has been in the works for about 6 years. It takes that long for different funding avenues to come available. And the first project was started in 2019. So the Lake Havasu Metropolitan Planning Organization in 2019 approved a highway safety project to allow the funding mechanism to happen. So that is the extent of Lake Havasu City's involvement. It's just opening up a funding opportunity for a safety project, and then they funded it or programmed it for fiscal year 25, which is where we find ourselves today.
For ADOT to spend.
For ADOT to spend, yes. Yeah, so it's ADOT money. Well, it's actually federal money. It has nothing to do, but it's ADOT is doing all of the things. So we said, yeah, we'll use this mechanism to open up funding, federal funding for ADOT to use. Through the MPO, so not like Havasu City, but the MPO, which consists of a board. I'm on that board, and so are two of my colleagues from the council are on that board, a representative from the Board of Supervisors, the County Board of Supervisors, and our ADOT district board member as well. So there's five folks on that board. But again, that was just a mechanism to open up funding. When that first started, I thought it would be K-rail, which is similar to like a 4-foot cement barrier that would kind of go along the center of that area, still leave a little bit of breathing room on either side. But we're not involved in the scoping of it. We're not involved in the bidding of it. We're not involved in the construction of it. We're not involved in the construction management of it. So when ADOT did all of those things, they scoped it, awarded a contract, and then the contractor started to put in and install it. Immediately, citizens started feeling that the road was skinnier and it was smaller and it was not going to be as safe as it once was. But all of those concerns we then took to ADOT and said, this is the feedback that we're receiving from our citizens. And they said the safety data supports that you would be able to have these medians which provide safety features. So it's really to stop head-on traffic collisions, which the whole reason that the mechanism through the MPO opened was because we had fatalities in these areas. So in these stretches, there was fatalities in that area.
Head-on fatalities when it comes to head-on collisions. So in large part, we had like medical emergencies. So when someone's driving down the road on 95, has a medical emergency, heart attack, stroke, something along those lines, and then finds themselves in oncoming traffic, head-on fatality collisions. We had a young family that was subjected to a head-on collision, those types of things. So that's where the impetus where this all started, right? Was how do we stop that from happening?
Yes, and so it really was to ensure that the safety of the highway and the usability of that highway system was going to work for folks. And so as they moved closer to town, so they started moving south, and they did the South Palo Verde to industrial section of that. And the lane, the actual width of the lane, even though it seems that our users of the highway used more lane width than they were supposed to prior to the medians being put in, the lane width remains the same. It's the same width. I then asked for ADOT to provide that safety data so we could share it with our citizens. And then we were getting some feedback from nighttime drivers that you would roll up on it and you wouldn't see it, you wouldn't know that it existed. And so now they've put in reflectors and yellow paint, that reflective paint, so it looks a little bit easier. I think I've told you all before, I don't really use the highway too often myself. I've never liked it. Before medians, I didn't like it, but I drove it this last weekend just to see what the issue was and how it was. It seems that the South Palo Verde to industrial is moving, pretty quickly, pretty regularly. It didn't seem like, I didn't feel like I was too crushed in that area. And now that they've actually completed the work on the northern end, it seems usable as well. I've gotten some feedback from citizens saying, well, if you look at all the tire marks on the medians, you'll see people are running into them. And I said, okay, so I started paying attention to medians throughout the rest of the community. And you may recall that the median in front of the Hobby Lobby Center has been there for years, and that has tire marks as well, and that's the exact same design and spec in that section as the other areas. But even Wheeler Park on McCulloch, across from the old Kmart facility, has tire marks on it, and it's a very wide road. So I think that medians are going to cause that, but the end result is saving lives. I mean, that's what's happening here. So we'll continue to take feedback from citizens and share it with our partners at ADOT as they continue to do safety projects throughout our community. And that's really where the medians came from. I think what also made the median conversation so excitable for people is that just a couple of weeks before they did the median on the highway, as a requirement of a new restaurant going up on Acoma across from Smith's, there was a contractor that put in a median that did a pretty shoddy job, and it created lots of comedy.
Very shoddy job.
Yeah, created lots of comedy and great comments on social media. Yeah. But that project was not administered by the city either. It was a requirement of the city for this new restaurant to go in, but that, of course, never would have passed city inspection and didn't pass city inspection, and obviously was pulled out and done the correct way. So we had lots of median conversations since the last time we've been in person and also online on social media. So we thought we'd just address that right out of the gate and bring that to it. But again, it's all about saving lives. That's really what we're trying to do as the community grows. We need to make sure that we have safe roadways, safe ways for the community to get around, and that is in collaboration with ADOT and what projects we can do with ADOT. And then how do we also maintain our own road network as well so that motorists can get around, in the manner that they need to get around.
I can add just maybe more so on the interaction the city has with like ADOT and other state agencies and other agencies that are separate from Lake Havasu City. We do our best to have influence, right? We do our best to reach out and advocate for our residents, advocate for our local economy, advocate for city resources the best that we can. But we're advocating. We're not in the driver's seat, so we do the best we can. I remember half a dozen years ago, we started assessing the needs of the community and the coffees and interactions coming back from the city. We hear a lot about we need our roads improved. We need the city to address short-term rentals more so the best that we can. We need better internet service within Lake Havasu City. We need to make sure that Highway 95 is clean. And because of all the trash buildup that takes place. So I started that process of being as annoying as possible with ADOT to say, hey, ADOT, we really need you out there picking up trash on 95. So our residents are concerned about this. We know it's a lasting impression when our tourists come into Lake Havasu City and they come into Havasu and they see trash in the middle of the roads, in the medians, in the side of the road. Persistence and annoyance. 5 years later, we got ADOT has been out there for the last year and have contracted with the landscaping company to 3-man and 4-man crews that have been out there picking up trash. So those are just some of the things in terms of influence. We say, hey, help us. That's attending meetings with ADOT, and they say, hey, anything else you want to add? Any questions for ADOT? And it's, yes, how can we get Highway 95 cleaned up, right? So just a little bit of a story or a little bit of a spin on how we interact with ADOT. They're separate. They got their own budget. We're part of a district, so and it extends. I mean, our district administrator is out in Flagstaff area, I believe, Prescott or Flagstaff area. So we do our best to try to bring them into our fold and tell our story as much as possible. You mentioned K-Rail on the median side. That's what you see in the metropolitan areas, in the Phoenix areas, or in the Vegas areas, and that stops traffic from going into the oncoming lanes. We didn't know about the design or what was being installed until we see the rebar that's being installed. And I'm getting questions about, hey, why is it in the yellow line? What's going on here? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm seeing this as well too. So let me reach out to ADOT and find out what the heck is happening and what some of the rationale is. And we pass along our concerns. We pass along our residents' concerns as best we can. But it's influence as opposed to leading the project. So just trying to put things in perspective a little bit. We do our best, and we advocate strongly. And in some areas, we're very, very successful. In some areas, we lick our chops, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, when it comes to the relationship, how would we not know? And certainly ADOT gave updates to the MPO and to the Tri-City Council that these safety projects were coming through. But when you assume, which is a bad thing to do, but when you assume it's going to be one way, you don't even think to ask the question that it's going to be anything other than the way that you're thinking that it's going to be through. So, and since we don't see any of the documents, it makes it very difficult. But we'll continue to advocate. We'll continue to do what's right to make sure that our partnership remains strong with ADOT and that the needs of our citizens are met on their management of their roadway and how it connects with our roadways.
A little bit just more so on ADOT. I got a text message. I haven't been able to see it for myself, but this is somehow how the process can work. I got a text message just a couple of days ago from our ADOT district administrator saying, hey, we just adjusted some of the timing on the signals on Highway 95. Let us know what you think. So I didn't know it was coming. I don't even know what the impacts are, what that looks like, but if anybody's seeing it, we're being told by text message that the timing of the signals on 95 has changed in the last week-ish or so. So look for that, see if that's the case. And if you're liking it, let us know. If you're not, let us know, and we can pass that sentiment on to ADOT as well, too. So eager to see what it looks like.
Somebody mentioned to me, actually, now you're saying that, they told me on that Mulberry and Highway 95, that at daytime it's doing something different than at nighttime.
Okay.
How it used to do, and I was like, oh, now I know. So there's something behind it. We can take a look and get that citizen an answer. But also, since last time we met, we passed a budget. So our budget for our current fiscal year went into effect on July 1. It's a really great budget that we can all be proud of. The community can be proud of it. The citizens can be proud of it. The city team can be proud of it as they're going to be able to deliver the services to our citizens. A few things just off the front. There's no tax rate increases. The tax collection is a little bit higher because of the assessed value on property values, but the rate has remained the same.
And new construction.
And new construction,
right,
correct,
right.
yes.
As homes are built in Havasu, then that adds to the tax roll, right?
Yes, yes. So those two combinations have increased the collections, but the rate remained the same for 7 years now. So we're proud of that. It's a fiscally conservative, a balanced budget, which was required by state law, but it has some great projects in it as well, including the funding for Station 7, Fire Station 7 up at Sloop in McCulloch, which will be forthcoming. It also has the second pool. We had a lot of conversations with pool and aquatic users over the last several months, and so a second pool will be part of that project. We have some refurbs for some of our fire engines. This is a program that Chief Palafis brought forward to take a look at our fire rigs, and rather than spending over $1 million to replace them, is it possible that we can refurbish them at a reduced cost? And actually, at our next council meeting, there will be one of those items on the agenda on the 23rd.
Yep, on the 23rd.
On the 23rd.
A new fire engine right now is $1.2 million. We've ordered 2 of them over the course like last 2 years. 2 years ago, and then last year we ordered one. They're set for delivery in 2027 and 2028. So they're very, very expensive, and it takes a long time for us to receive them. So kudos to Chief Palafis for this approach and extending the life of our existing engines by 8 to 10 years.
Yeah, and Chief Palafis told me just this week that it's not changing. So it's still that long. Like we thought the supply chain window would eventually catch up to itself. And fire engine making, I guess it's not doing that. So it's still taking that long to happen. We also have a city fuel facility that will be part of the completion this year. That's adjacent to our City Hall complex for all of our vehicles to be able to have access to fuel. It also will provide a generator backup so we have access to fuel in case of emergency just in our region for emergency planning purposes as well.
If there's a citywide blackout or something along those lines, it's going to be difficult to get fuel in Lake Havasu City. There are one or two, I believe, at the most, gas stations in Havasu that private gas stations that run on a generator. In those times, that's where our residents need the city the most. So we need fuel in our police vehicles and our fire engines and our public works vehicles and all those types of things too. So that's very, very important when it comes to that fuel facility that is underway and almost completed.
Yes. I drove by it this morning on the way here. It's looking good. It also includes some radio upgrades for our police department, so communication networks for our police department to be able to communicate in cases of emergency, make sure they have full citywide coverage for that. It includes portions of the second bridge, which I'll let Jess talk to us a little bit about the second bridge. I think there was an article in the paper this morning about some of the comments that you provided at the city council meeting this week on the second bridge. But lots of amazing things that are happening. Ball field lights at our parks. Our ball fields, one, we don't have enough of them, and the ones we have are overused. And when we're using them at night, the lights actually are not sufficient for the needs of the user. So it's some folks have reported that there's is that called blackouts? Is that or black? Someone told me there's like black dots that they're seeing.
Oh, you get spots. So we're talking about ball field lights that are 20, 25 years old metal halide type of lighting. So it's lighting has changed drastically in the last 25 years. So we want higher efficiencies, LED lights. It's a better user experience. It's cheaper. It's a better experience not only for the users of the ball field, but for residents in the area that see that glow, within their yards or their site. So excited about that one for sure.
Yeah, it'd be really great. But when you're playing baseball at night, you can't always see the ball coming at you, so that's a problem. This new light will make sure that happens. And then also, if you look at Cypress, which is some of the newer light technology, the light pollution, you actually can designate the light exactly where you need it to be on the field without a lot of light pollution going into the neighboring yards and those types of things. So that will be exciting. But lots of great things in the budget. Again, it's something we can all be proud of. It's taking care of the priorities that our citizens are coming forth with us. Lots of road projects are going to be in there, including the repaving of Jamaica, which will be coming forth pretty quick. Acoma is working there throughout the CIP. Some areas in Kiowa, so some real big road networks in addition to our regular road maintenance. We have water main replacement projects. We have a lot of great things. Those aren't as fun for people to talk about because you can't see them, but you sure do like them when you turn on your water in the morning and it comes out or you flush your toilet. But we have lots of great things to ensure that our infrastructure is ready and available for our citizens for today and for the future. So really careful planning that we've done over the years to ensure that everything remains available to our citizens going forward. Jess, did you want to talk about and give an update on the second bridge and where we stand on that?
Yeah, so lots of progress, lots of good things happening when it comes to the second bridge. I was just talking to Ron Foggin, who is our Public Works Director, earlier this week, and just trying to put the timeline in perspective a little bit. So the state directed us through the budget process anyway to conduct a feasibility study for the second bridge. That study was finalized in June of 2024. So that at that point, that's pretty much our the starting gun has gone off, right? For us to move and advance the ball when it comes to the design and construction of the second bridge. So 2024 June is the gun goes off and we start the marathon. And in August, the city council and the city entered into an agreement with the design team, which is NV5. And in December of last year, we were at 20% design. So the initial crafting of what we're talking about, the concept of what this is, will the pylons be in the water? Will they be on ground? Those types of conversations. So by December, we're talking about that. Just a couple of months later, I think in February, March, which is very, very quickly, we're now under contract with the CMAR, or the Construction Management at Risk contractor for that project, and that's Ames Construction. So at that point, now we got the design team on, we got the environmental team on, which is a requirement for us. We have the bridge design team on, and we have the contractor, the folks that are going to be constructing the bridge itself back in February. And have been working very, very hard since then with soil testing, with surveying, and then all the nitty-gritty stuff that you have to start at the beginning of this project. So what's the grade levels? Where's the retention coming from? The alignment itself, and we're trying to do some things to save on the cost of the bridge on the island side. So we have a perpetual lease agreement with state land for existing alignment on the island. So we're working with state land to move that over slightly so that we can come across the channel at a 90-degree angle. So that shorter bridge span means less dollars for the city and for our residents. And then working hard with Arizona State Parks at the same time. We have a construct of a memo of understanding. The city does not have a right-of-way. We don't own the land. We need state parks to join us as partners in this project so we can finalize the alignment on the mainland side over, and there's impacts to the state park at Windsor in that area. And we're doing our best to minimize that impact and push the alignment of the road network to the edges that are there. So all those conversations are happening right now. And then just this week, we got the 30% design. So we got the contractor team, everyone's on board, and we got the 30%. Oh, and then about a month ago, we were able to send off what we had at that time, what the Coast Guard requires. So we have to send all of that plan set over to the Coast Guard for an application process that takes between 6 and upwards of 18 months for them to review. So we don't know what that looks like. So we want to get that clock started as quickly as possible. So really good team on the city on the city staff side, the project management side, the design team, the contractor, the bridge design team, really working effectively on this project, trying to identify the least amount of negative impacts and then identify the most bang for the city's dollars. Talking about the bridge, we're talking about the road networks, we're talking about the intersections, and we're talking about the impacts it's going to have on the surrounding road networks and traffic flows in that area. And so a lot's been happening. So we haven't seen anybody pounding nails or pouring concrete or anything like that, but it really won't be long. Things go by very quickly. If everything goes well and we can stand shoulder to shoulder with state parks and get that agreement in place, we're hoping to start construction in say first or second quarter of 2027. So you'll actually see construction. And that'll be exciting because then we're going to get all the phone calls about why is there construction happening in the channel and causing an inconvenience. But that's what construction does, right? So that's the update. We'll know when we get to the 60% design when the contractor commits to the dollar amount for the construction of the second bridge. So at that point, the contractor has to come back with all the dollars, all the estimates, all the bids, put it in one big packet, and then say, okay, it's going to cost a guaranteed maximum price of X to accomplish what you're set out to do. We also have lots of conversations, not just with the bridge itself, but we have underground utilities in that area, in that channel area. So we have sewer mains, we have water mains that are underneath the channel, that are bored and underneath the channel. And it's our desire to take those utilities that the city operates, water and sewer utilities, we want them contained within the bridge. We want to reroute those main lines and decommission the ones that are under the channel, and we want to put those lines within the bridge. Much easier for us to monitor, maintain. We can be proactive in terms of maintenance, so we're not reacting to breaks and those types of things that are happening. So all those conversations are happening too. If you talk about the bridge, the road networks, the intersections, the utilities, we're probably biting off more than we can chew, given the $35.5 million that is identified in the legislative budget. But we want to make sure that we're talking about all of these things and then be able to maybe walk a few things back if we need to, or talk about investments or phase 2 or phase 3. But phase 1 will 100% include a bridge, a road, and intersections. So.
Thank you. None of this would have been possible without Representative Biasucci, with the help of then Senator Borelli and Representative Gillette getting the money. So the $35.5 million is a direct appropriation from the state of Arizona in the state budget to do this second bridge for Lake Havasu City. So all of the work, Jess and I joke a lot that he's taking forever to get this bridge done, but you can tell there's a lot of work that goes into it, and there's a lot of partners that we have to bring to the table to put this together, since it's not our land at the state park or with the state trust land, but bringing all those people together. And we did a lot of long-range planning for a second bridge, so we knew the general area, we had the systems put in place, but until we had monies available to actually go to the level, like, where is the bridge actually going to be? Where is it going to be aligned? To then be able to do all of this additional design components of it, that's what is taking a lot of work. And generally, if it was a project that was led by Lake Havasu City, we would have programmed those in and had all of that work done before we awarded the contract. But this is a project that was gifted to us through our state delegation. So that's kind of why the process is a little bit different. We had to start basically as soon as funding came. We're starting at day one. It wasn't what you might call a shovel-ready project, but your team's doing a great job, so thank you for the update. And we actually will have another update from Public Works at our meeting on the 23rd as well on the second bridge going forward. We also are getting ready in the next couple of weeks to do a lot of projects throughout the community. So we're starting with Jamaica. Jamaica Boulevard will be a mill and fill, so that'll be taking out the current asphalt and putting new asphalt down. That's going to go from like the is it Saddleback, Chemehuevi area down to Pinia?
Yeah. So
which is like in front of, like, by Havasu Dunes, like in that area. That's it. So it goes from Chemehuevi all the way down. Jamaica will be happening in the next couple of weeks, right?
Next 10 days, less than 10 days, you'll see some of that milling and the removal of the asphalt that's going to start here. So that's going to happen very quickly. So that's Jamaica. That's not Lake Havasu Avenue that's down there, right? Where it comes into, or is that Maricopa?
No, it goes into Lake Havasu Avenue.
So basically the start of Lake Havasu Avenue in Jamaica, and then going up, past Crispy Crunchy Chicken or the Have a Bite food truck up to that area. So that's where you're going to see lots of construction. So we'll be very, very proud when that project's done, and we greatly appreciate patience when it comes to the construction side of things.
So while we're doing that, we're also going to do a water main project on Acoma. So you want to talk about what that impact will be?
So we're doing our annual water main replacement program. And so we're going to be replacing water mains throughout the community with a heavy focus on Acoma. We want to focus the water main replacement program, this year's allocation and dollars for our program, on Acoma, because next year we want to rip up Acoma and half of Acoma and do what we're about to do on Jamaica. So that's a complete mill and then putting down new asphalt on Acoma. So at this point, I think is where we give out your cell number for any construction complaints that take place, Mayor. But so that'll be happening here in the next less than 2 weeks. That project will commence. So that's very, very important for us to replace water mains before we put fresh asphalt on top of them, right?
Yeah, not only are we doing our work, but we also have other utilities that are doing their work as well. So you might have already seen the gas company was at Acoma and Rainbow. I thought it was quite a stir a few weeks back.
Still is.
It's still, I don't drive over that area much, but the detour they had me on when I did was quite the detour.
It's quite the detour.
All of those utilities done at once, so that when we do put in the new infrastructure, that we don't have to pull back up, which is, it's a great thing that we have the opportunity to really do these projects throughout the community, take the priorities that our citizens have, and get these things done. But we want to make sure that we do it in the right way. And then just next week, we also will be installing, it's ADOT, we'll be installing in partnership the light at Jamaica and McCulloch. So Jamaica and McCulloch is a four-way stop now. That will be getting a new traffic signal going forward. That also is a highway safety project funded project. Unfortunately, there was fatalities in that area that allowed the funding mechanism to open for this intersection. But for folks that use that, especially during school transfer times, Either if you're heading over to the high school coming from the south, or you're heading over to Jamaica, Thunderbolt, or Starline during the morning commute, you could wait for a long time. At the beginning of before coffee started, Holly had mentioned to me that 30 cars were backed up there when she went to use that intersection in the last couple of weeks. So that project will be a good project as well. Really free up that intersection for people that are commuting that in the morning. We also have just this week we had an agreement at a council meeting with Allo Fiber, which is a company that is now available for citizens throughout our community for cable, telephone, and Wi-Fi.
Your microphone's
on. Oh, am I down?
While you're doing that, I can talk a little bit about the Allo.
Yeah, perfect.
Good. Yeah. Okay. So we'll get some maintenance and some work done on the microphone pack there. But we've been having conversations with Allo for several months now, and trying to identify a partnership that would make sense for Allo and obviously make sense for the city and our residents. So they approached us, and we're looking at they wanted to put infrastructure into some of our parks. In particular, they were looking at the Main Street Commons area and the downtown and the impacts it would have on their providing services for special events, for vendors, for businesses and residents down in that area. And so we started thinking about that and looking at that a little more closely. So what the council approved this week was basically a landlord-tenant agreement, if you will. And so the city owns the land. Allo wants to locate their equipment in our parks, but in lieu of receiving cash, like a rent payments from Allo, we're asking for services for our residents and equipment and services that are going to support public safety as well as our parks department. So this covers most of several of our parks. I think it's 8 in total, I believe, is what we're looking at. Main Street Commons, Rotary Park, Dick Samp, Sarah Park, Avalon, Jack Hardy. So that's most of them. I might have forgot one in there. But we're asking them where they locate this equipment. We want free Wi-Fi service for our residents. Typically, you get like a 5 megabyte. We threw out 10, and they agreed. So yay! So 10 megabytes of free Wi-Fi service for our residents within the parks where they're locating that equipment, and also helps us from our staff to have Wi-Fi service when we're generating reports or communicating and so forth. We're putting in new automated irrigation systems within our parks. We want Wi-Fi to connect with our irrigation system, so we're doing better in terms of scheduling our water schedules and those types of things. And tying those irrigation systems to weather stations, so that when there's weather in the area, that our irrigation systems are accommodating those types of things. But we're also asking for different ELANs installed in certain areas within our parks to support networks and systems that we currently have and for future opportunities. And particularly look at Rotary Park, where we have some cameras down there in the skate park area in particular. We want to make sure that those cameras are safe on a network, on a secured network. And we have our carbon monoxide monitors and sensors that we have in the channel area. Those are for our heavily used holiday weekends when it comes to the channel area. A lot of boats are running, and we have a lot of exhaust, a lot of carbon monoxide. So we have carbon monoxide testers and sensors that are down there that alert us if there's issues. We want that on a separate network. So really good relationship for the city in terms of looking at this type of equipment. It would cost us a whole lot more than what we're if we did this alone without any type of relationship that's out there. And very, very excited for that 10 megabytes of free Wi-Fi. And they told us at the council meeting that they're hoping to start, I think, Main Street Commons and then Rotary Park here in like the next 90 days. We'll see some of those improvements and services available for residents. So.
Yeah, they were really excited when they were presenting it to us on Tuesday night for consideration of the council. 10 megabytes, I learned on Tuesday, is about the same as like hotel Wi-Fi. So that it's actually a pretty good stream for citizens to use. In addition to free Wi-Fi for all users of the park that go there, Allo customers also will be able to seamlessly take whatever their configuration is at home and use it at the park. So if you have their television streaming, you can watch the show at home and then continue it when you get to the park if you wanted to. So it's a great relationship that we're able to offer citizens and visitors some additional amenities in our park area, and we're grateful that we're able to do that. We also have coming up on our 23rd meeting, we have Main Street Commons. We've talked about this a lot over the years. This was, it's the area on Quario and McCulloch that opened right for Desert Storm in the spring, but it didn't open in its full plan. When we initially had the item before the City Council, we started with this project through the America's Best Community competition, where Lake Havasu City was a $2 million grand prize winner. And with that, those monies, the citizens directed those monies to be used towards 3 projects. One was what we at the time were calling the Downtown Catalyst Project, which is that area. The second one was a co-working location, which is now known as Nomadic, right adjacent to this area. And then the third was a water or an environmental learning center, which we've done feasibility on, and we just haven't had a whole lot of movement in that area. But the monies that were allocated of the winnings for that project have put together some feasibility studies to see if that was going to be a possibility. Maybe that will be something in the future, but not on the plans right now. So the Main Street Commons, when it came before council for us to do the design or the build of it, so the design was there, and then now we're actually going to build it. We had a bid that included bathrooms that were really expensive, and we knew that we could do that outside of that contract for less money. And so we as a council said, hey, let's kind of piece this together a little bit so that we can ensure that we're using the monies in the most wise way. And so we cut out some of the shade structures, cut out the restrooms. We don't have a concession area right now to use the park area if someone was going to want to sell concessions in the area or have concessions for like a First Friday. And so coming forward on Tuesday the 23rd will be the final iteration of the completed phases that we always envisioned. So that doesn't mean that we won't do things in the future, because as users are down there, they may say, hey, we want to have this, or we would like this, or this would be great, which like all of our parks throughout Lake Havasu City, they are filled with passion projects of citizens over the years that have done things, from bocce ball courts at Rotary to the volleyball courts at Rotary, to the butterfly garden, to the playground equipment at Cypress, to Sarah Park is a whole host of amenities of different specialized users of that facilities, whether it be the Sportsman Club or the Friends of the Fair, the hiking trails, or the Speedway, whatever it may be. These are all passion projects over the years that have come through and have had support of citizens and the city to do so. So this will be the final iteration of the original design will be coming before council on the 23rd. What it will include is it will include for consideration, it will include the completion of shade structures, the original shade that we anticipated, concession building, and a restaurant, and a restroom building. So there'll be a restroom building, a concession stand building, and the shade. And that will be the final iteration. As the area stands today, all of the construction that occurred at the park, so I think we've shared this before in coffee, by 880 dump truck loads of dirt were taken and removed from that area. The turf put down, the sidewalks put down, all of the infrastructure, the electric, all of those things, all of those construction dollars have been paid for either in grant money or the winnings from our America's Best Community competition. So we have had money in the general fund allocated over the last several years, and we do this year as well, so that we can have the consideration to complete it. And so that is what we'll be talking about on September 23rd. We also have been working in partnership with the Partnership for Economic Development and Go Lake Havasu that are going to be supporting some of the funding of this, should we be able to move forward after the council's consideration and if the council adopts it. So I don't know if I covered all of the Main Street Common happenings and
No restaurant.
yeah, no restaurant, and certainly not in the restrooms. So.
Yeah.
But if you have thoughts about the Main Street Commons area, we want it to be a useful space that people are using, which they are. But it's funny, sometimes you'll see people post and say, "Oh, it's a waste. No one's using it." Please know that when you drive by the Main Street Commons, it's a point in time. So it's literally a flash of 30 seconds in which you are driving by and maybe somebody is not using it. But we have lots of events that are scheduled in that area, special events, whether it be craft fairs or festivals or brats and brews. I mean, lots of different events that are organized. On top of it, we have organic users. There's a youth faith group that meets there every Sunday evening, but just organically. They're not organized by the city at all, and you'll see users using it throughout the day. And if we get additional shade, you'll see more users there. Right now, it's kind of hard to all share one little shade section. So if that does get passed on the 23rd, then we will have more users using it in those areas. And then, of course, keep in mind that we opened it for Desert Storm. Desert Storm is literally the last weekend we have before we retreat inside or retreat to the lake. We're not really going to a downtown park with open air in the summertime. So I really do anticipate a lot of use this winter for folks that are just using it. So
Mention events, whether it's Main Street Commons or otherwise. I was talking to Jerry Bracamane earlier this week. She does a lot of wonderful things for the city, including our special event process. So if there's a special event application that's needed, you submit that to the city. It goes through Jerry's office. So if there's going to be using our city property or using city resources, we want to track all these things. From September just through the end of December, she's got either 45 applications or permits sitting on her desk just for that time period throughout the city. So events are coming. Including 8, I believe, at Main Street Commons, 4 of which are the PED, including their proposed New Year's event that they're planning at Main Street Commons. So things are about to pick up, right? And then right now it's hard to hold an event at Main Street Commons because we're talking about some construction. So holding an event at that location when you're potentially building restrooms, concession building, and adding to the shade features at that site. But people are knocking on our door, and they want to utilize that space. And I think it's a great thing that if we can get more people in that area, in that downtown, it's a great social gathering spot, which builds community, and it also supports our businesses in the downtown area. So that's exciting in terms of what the possibilities could be there, and all the events that we're going to be able to enjoy here very, very shortly.
So if it is successful on the 23rd and council adopts the shade structure, is it 2 different agenda items or 3?
2 different agenda items. One agenda item is going to be for the, we solicited bids for the restrooms and the concession building. So that's one agenda item. So council will decide on that. And then the second agenda item will be the solicitation of bids that we received for the remaining 8 shade structures for that area.
And then if it is successful, when would we'd be able to anticipate it to be complete?
So then we're told at that point, once they get like the go-ahead, the notice to proceed. So if council approves and then the city team provides them with a notice to approve, that they're telling us the tentative timeline at that point, 90 days from that time until we're able to enjoy. We'd really like to get it done if council moves in that direction. We'd really like to get it done before the holiday events. So we can talk a little bit about this, but we just bought a 50-foot panel Christmas tree or holiday tree, Christmas tree that we're looking at locating at Main Street Commons to create a real nice holiday vibe and theme and feel in that area, and doing some other things in terms of connecting the downtown with the holiday feel and that's coming. So we'd really like that area to be construction free. If we want to enhance that as much as possible. So that is our goal. That's a really tight window to get that done, but that would be really, really nice for us to accomplish that.
That'll be a great place. This year we always light up at Wheeler Park the Frederico Christmas tree in that area, but as you know, that tree's not doing so good right now. And so we thought we could save it, and then we thought we couldn't save it, and then we thought we could save it. It's really been a whiplash experience with this tree. It's given us a run for its money. But so we will move, as just said, the new LED tree up to the Main Street Commons area. And then we're also working with the Pioneers of Havasu group, which is all of our original homeowners that moved here prior to 1973, I believe, and they are working on some LED trees that we can enhance the Wheeler Park area as well. So we'll try to have some continuity, and that's still in the works. That's not finalized yet, but that's kind of what we're planning for the holiday traditions from the city's perspective. We'll have the decorations along Main Street, Upper McCulloch, Main Street Commons, the LED tree with some decorations, and then down at Wheeler Park as well. So should be a nice addition, and we'll see what happens with the Federico tree. We just don't know. It changes daily. But
it wasn't so much this summer, but the last 2 summers we had were just so hot. And when we get temperatures and those summer temperatures, whether it's on your personal property at your home or through our parks and throughout city property, that heat plays a big role on the health of our plants, our trees, throughout the community. More so with just when the ground gets heated up to that extent and then doesn't subside for all those months, the root systems are really impacted. And unfortunately, we're seeing that with the Federico tree and what that looks like. So we have probably the most passionate person on staff when it comes to trees. If he dies a little inside, if one of our trees in the community dies, Craig Geary is phenomenal, and he cares so much. So he's doing whatever he can to save the Federico tree, but it's not easy, and it's not looking great. Yeah.
So we're not the only ones in your yards. A lot of our citizens have also lost different vegetation and trees over the last couple of years. So we'll continue to work on it, but hopefully the holidays will be great in Havasu. We'll have the connection from the village all the way up to Main Street Commons and beyond. So really exciting plans there. We'll give you a quick general plan update. We are working on the general plan, which is the overarching planning document that Lake Havasu City uses when it comes to land uses. And it is statutorily required that every 10 years we go in front of our citizens and update the general plan. And we just have open dialogue and conversations as a community about how we want our community to look into the future or for the next 10 years, 20, 30, 40 years. And it's based on population thresholds. So once you're past 50,000, which of course we are, we have 17 different factors that we have to take into consideration and have open dialogue with our community on. We have a TAC, which is a technical advisory committee. That's made up mostly of subject matter experts that work for the city. So city attorney, our public works, airport, parks, all of the departments that come together, public safety, they're the TAC. So they're the subject matter experts in that area. And then we have a steering committee, which is made up of citizens throughout the community. Several citizens applied and were selected to be as part of the steering committee. And then there's all of us, the rest of us that need to be involved as well. If you can be involved is by just taking a survey, so a written survey or an online survey. You can be involved by attending public hearings about it and making your voice heard. You can be involved by attending workshops that we had several throughout this summer. There's going to be lots of opportunities for citizens to get involved and share your piece of what it is. So if you're passionate about parks and that's all you care about, come tell us about your passion for parks and what you'd like. If you're passionate about the ability to drive around or to make your way around the community as a pedestrian, come share what it is that you do and why you're passionate about it and what the plan could do to help make that better for you. If you have a higher level thought, share that with us. If you want to be involved through the whole process, let's do that. Emilio Torres is actually a member of the steering committee, and thank you for applying and being a part of that. The next steering committee is coming up this next month in October. For those meetings are open to the public as well. So, and you can give feedback to either members of the steering committee or also the consultants that we're working with on the general plan. It's really, really important that we have all of your voices heard about what you want the community or what you see the community could be, We also would like to get the youth involved as well. This next plan is going to impact them. This is our high school citizens. In 10 years, they're going to be the ones that are buying homes and starting families and building careers, doing all of those things. What is it that they're going to want to see into the future? So, again, the general plan is the overarching planning document that then we use for our zoning. So, if we have, the general plan supports that, a certain area is going to be employment uses or retail commercial uses or residential or single family residential, multifamily residential, the zoning decisions have to be mirrored to that general plan. And so, again, 17 different factors. At the council meeting that we had just this last Tuesday, through the steering committee's work and the workshops this summer, they took those 17 and they were able to find compile them down to, was it 5 factors?
Group them into like five categories.
Yeah, so 5 different categories that take all 17 of those factors into 5 different themes, so that we can have a more dialed-in conversation about those different themes. Now, the 17 is a lot of things to talk about, but if we can say, okay, all housing is going to go into this section, and all livability is going to go to this, and all of medical is going to go into this area. However, that worked out. I don't remember the 5 off the top of my head, the categories, but it makes sense, and it will allow us to have a detailed conversation as citizens about those different factors as we continue on throughout this process. So at the end of the process, what happens is that this will go in front of the Planning and Zoning Commission. The Planning and Zoning Commission will make a recommendation for approval to the council. It will then come to the city council during a public hearing there, which, again, public hearings, anytime I use that word, that's where citizens have the ability to weigh in on the conversation that the council is having. Then the council will adopt it. Hopefully, it's been a long process, and hopefully that'll be adopted. And then from there, it goes to the general ballot in November of 2026 for voter approval. So the voters have to ratify the general plan, and the general plan then would become the new planning document that we have for Lake Havasu City.
You talk about just the public engagement and the things that we've done and the things we're about to do. So we're looking at October and November. We're going to have a couple of key events and some key opportunities for the public to come, learn, comment, be engaged. We talk about the general plan process and these types of things, and it can sound, without knowing kind of what we're talking about, it can sound very, very dry and very, very boring. General plan, geez, what do you, land use, designations, like categories, and these types of words that put people, unlike ourselves, to sleep, right? But what do you want Havasu to look like in 10 years? What's the vision and the goals, and what do we want to do when we grow up? So that so they're troublemakers in the back row over there. We're having some fun before the meeting. But essentially, what is the future of Lake Havasu City when it comes to water, housing, jobs, retail, road networks, from a very, very big picture perspective, right? And we key on some of these things and then dive deeper into some of these subjects. But generally, what are we looking at in terms of the Havasu's future? So if nothing else, come and learn, and you might see a few things that you weren't aware of, and maybe it'll generate some ideas or some comments that you didn't think about before you got there. I think one of the next ones we're going to do is a little bit more of a kind of a come and go, a little bit friendly. We'll have some subject matter experts in the room. If you have questions, we can grab them, whether it's about airport or about roads or housing or what that looks like. So we'll have all those people in the room and different stations so you can kind of come and go and walk through and experience that from that perspective. So we've done a couple different formats, and this is a new type of format. We're just trying to engage our residents as much as possible. Our goal is for the general plan not to be the mayor's plan, or certainly not the city manager or staff's plan, or anybody else. It has to be the community's plan. So the more public engagement that we have, the more feedback we hear back from our residents, that will literally guide what is contained within the general plan. So if you want to have an impact on what Havasu wants to look like over the next 10 years, or what where we're going to maybe shift or continue the path we're going to continue on, now is the time to do it, because literally we're taking all of our citizens' comments, all of our engagement, and we're putting into a plan, and then we're going to put it before P&Z, the council, and ultimately the voters to decide if this is a good direction for Havasu to go.
And as an elected, I serve you. And the way I serve you on the zoning side of things is through the general plan. So that's the plan that the voters told us in 2016 when they adopted it, that's the direction they want to go for the next 10 years. And so we've had a lot of growth over the last couple of years. And so now there's a lot of things are shifting, and people, you hear comments from citizens that, we don't have enough infrastructure, the roads are too busy, there's not enough stores, there's not enough medical facilities, all of those types of things. Now is the time that we can say, okay, how then do we want to address some of those things through our planning process so that we can give certainty to people that are going to invest in our area. Because all of those things I just mentioned, other than roads, we don't do as a city. We don't build houses. We're not the medical doctor you see when you go to your provider, but we can help make sure there's certainty in a plan for those people that do invest in those types of things to come, and then to work with our economic development partners to attract those folks to move to the area. So again, we want your engagement, whether it's big or little or one time or multiple times. Please get engaged, talk to your friends, talk to your neighbors, talk to your family, and share your feedback. There's lots of ways to do it. You can go to the city's website at lhcaz.gov, and there's links on there that'll take you to the general plan documents so that you can read everything, you can leave feedback on what you have, or attend one of the public events and come on in and share what you think, or again, just listen and then send an email afterwards, and we'll incorporate all of that information. But any opportunity to hear from more folks is going to make the plan that much better for the future of Lake Havasu City. We also are working right now in seeking input from our citizens and our building community on the proposed International Building Code updates. We currently operate under the 2018 International Building Code, and we're considering going to the 2024 building codes. There's lots of reasons for that, but the benefits for citizens are the safety features to ensure that when you're going to a facility that it meets codes that provides the proper safety for you to be in. It also helps with insurance rates. It helps with fire ratings. It helps with some of those things. So when it comes to like the commercial structures, it also helps with contractors. So if contractors are working under all of the same guidelines, if you have an Arizona contract license in the state of Arizona, for example, and we're the only city operating under the 2018 guidelines and everyone else is operating under 2024, we might not get as many bids on some of our projects because they aren't as familiar maybe with our code. So there's lots of reasons to do it. But Jesse, you want to talk a little bit about how citizens can provide that feedback to us and then what the process will be once we have that feedback for council consideration?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So yeah, as you indicated, Mayor, we've as a city, we've adopted the 2018 building code and fire code. So when you're looking at construction, renovation, or obviously new construction, that guides the process in terms of ensuring that it's constructed safely and properly, whether it's electrical or otherwise. All the things contained within the building code. So again, we're at 2018. In the budget process, we talked a little bit about moving towards the 2024 building code and fire code, but now we're anticipation of coming before the city council and our residents and our building community. To say that we want to move to the 2024 codes, that we want feedback from our residents, we want feedback from the building community to ensure we're doing something that is a safe balance between safety and without inconveniencing the building community to a degree that doesn't make sense for safety, if that makes any type of sense. We want to make sure that everything within there is not going to unnecessarily inflate cost of the renovation project at your home or a new construction project that takes place within Havasu. We want to make sure there's safety tied to all of these things. Every couple of years, International Building Code, Fire Code, they come back with recommendations, they update it, and now there's a 2024 and then a 2026 and so forth. We don't adopt every time they come out, or we don't consider adopting every time they come out. But we take a look at what the biggest updates are a part of that. So Jeff Tuneman, and then Steve Blake, our building official, We're going to be trying to engage our building community as much as we can through the Chamber Building Alliance, other venues, surveys, and so forth. We want to describe what's in the 2024 building codes and fire code, and we want to get feedback from them on what makes sense and what doesn't make sense. Are there any undue hardships associated with what we're talking about? And if so, is there a way to address that with maximizing safety for the occupants and users of these facilities? So we want to collect all that data, get all that input, and then bring all of that to the City Council, and through our resident engagement, be able to make the best decision on whether or not we move forward with the 2024, and if we do, what's that look like specifically?
Yeah, so if you have thoughts on it, reach out to us and let us know. You can email us or leave an inquiry on the website or call us, and let's chat about it. And it would be great to get that feedback from all of the different aspects, citizens, the building community, and otherwise. So please provide that input before we get there. So we're getting close to where we're going to get to your questions, but before we do that, we want to highlight a couple of folks that we work with on a regular basis. First is Gabby Vera. She's our Parks and Recreation Director. She was selected by the Arizona, I want to make sure I get the correct, the Arizona Parks and Rec Association and the National Parks and Rec Association as the Young Professional of the Year. So both at the state and the national level. I don't know if that's ever been done before, but it seems amazing and a testament to what a great professional she is in this
Young Professional of the Year, nationally recognized Young Professional of the Year we have here in Lake Havasu City.
Yes.
So thank you, Gabby, for all you do.
Yeah, it's amazing. And yeah, thank you. Yeah. So if you haven't engaged with our recreation programs in a while, I encourage you to do so. There's something literally for everybody. Was it 30 different programs, I believe, in this month, from charcuterie board making to
paddleboarding and adult archery, kids Mario Kart, games, different crafts and arts, and just a lot of fun. There were some really cool things happening. Yeah. And now they're talking about the Fall Fun Fair and some of these big events that are now coming and they're upcoming. So pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's lots of great things. So check out the website or follow us on social media. And if you want to engage with any of those programs, there's lots of new things that are happening in our recreation area. And then also would like to recognize Councilmember Jenny Koch. She was selected to be in the first cohort of the Arizona Civic Craft, which is a leadership program that is run and administered through the Arizona League of Cities and Towns. And so she is going to be in that cohort with other leaders throughout the state. And then they also will work together to build the foundation of the future programs of that. So really excited for Councilmember Koch to be able to represent Lake Havasu and also use her leadership in that area. So with that, we'll go ahead and open it up for questions. I would like to introduce Councilmember David Diaz, who's joining us this morning. Thank you, Councilmember Diaz, for being with us. And Councilmember Diaz is also going to be taking around the microphone. So, Gary told me this question's for you, so.
Mayor, don't be afraid.
Yeah.
This is for the mayor and plus...
Dave, you told me yesterday it was for Jess.
This is working out just fine.
Mayor, I'm going to be as easy as possible I can for you. We haven't talked too much about the water situation. We have approximately, you're talking about 50,000, but I think it's around 60,000 population for this city. The other thing, too, we're building everywhere. We're having trouble with Meade and those facilities out there. Everybody's building big houses, and they're just expanding everywhere. Phoenix, Las Vegas. And where are we getting our water from? We've been talking about this for a long time. We have no situation where there's no restrictions of what we can use the water for. I'm concerned about that. And you want to go to over 100,000 population here. And we are building everywhere, and it's getting more and more. And the thing is, even in the county, they're building like crazy. They were going to phase 3 already back there. So I'm just concerned what your thought is, and get a little update what you're doing about where our water is coming from.
Sure.
and give us an idea of what's happening. And for you, Jeff, my other problem with this is you promised that we would use something for industrial. It is heavily road usage. We got boats, we got big equipment going down that road, and ambulance and everything you can imagine down there. It is not completely finished yet. And I like to see what we're going to do about getting that finished off, because it's just tearing the heck out of our roads. I know we were having some curb issues being at the far end and on that road. And now that that's completed, when are we going to finish it off? That's what I want to know. And also, I gave you some paperwork to look at what Rainbow is about. I mean, excuse me, not Rainbow, I'm sorry, Riverboat. And those cracks all through that whole area. They were filled once, now the cracks are opened up. I'm trying to save that roadway so you don't have to really tear it up and replace it, but it needs to be filled. There's cracks everywhere. It's a U-type highway there, or a road. It needs to be looked at, and I was hoping you would look at that. Is there going to be a charge for using the complex at McCulloch when you have the special events? Will there be a charge for that?
You're at your 3 limit, Dave, so give the
okay.
back and we'll answer the question.
I'm going to try to sneak that in.
Yeah, so I'll start with Main Street Commons. Yes, if you are an organized group, there will be a fee like any other park amenity that you have. If you rent a Ramada at one of our parks, you would pay a fee through our fee structure. If you're just a citizen that's looking to go down and read a book, bring your family, there's no cost to use Main Street Commons. But if you're doing an organized event or putting on a craft fair or something along those lines, yes, you would pay through the fee structure. I'll take the water question, then we'll turn it over to Jess for your other question. So water is a concern for people all over the Southwest. There are 7 basin states that use Colorado River water, which is what we use here in Lake Havasu City as well. The law of the river is very, very, very complicated. The hydrology of the river has changed has changed since the law of the river was set, so it makes it even more complicated. And so we're in the process, we as a nation are in the process of working on the post-2026 guidelines. So in 2007, the 7 basin states and Mexico, a treaty with Mexico, got together and they put together the operating guidelines for 20 years. Those are set to expire at the end of 2026. The end of this year for our operating year next year. And so they have been working, the basin states each have a representative from the governor's office. In our case, it's the Arizona Department of Water Resources director. Each state has a different person that's negotiating for their state. The lower basin states are in agreement. They're in alignment of how we're going to operate post-2026. The upper basin seems to be in alignment as well with each other, but upper and lower is not in alignment. So we are working through some of those challenges. The Secretary of the Interior is the water master based on the law of the river, and which means the United States will intervene if the 7 basin states are not able to come to an agreement. And so those conversations are going. We are at the table, which is fantastic. We are having conversations. Dave, you had mentioned that I want us to go to 100,000. I've never said that, and I don't want that. I want to make sure my job is to plan to ensure the future growth of our community based on the land that's available, private land holdings available in this area, what the growth could be. I need to plan for that. So if you don't have someone elected that's planning for the future, that will be a big problem. And so I need to do that. That's what the land holdings are available for this area inside Lake Havasu city limits. And so we have to plan accordingly for that. It's not what I want. I grew up here. I like small town America, and I like the charm of a small community like Lake Havasu City, but we have to plan for that. Lake Havasu City has about 29,000 acre feet of water entitlements through the Bureau of Reclamation. So 29,000 acre feet of water. And we're currently using about 16 acre feet. So we're using about half of that right now on an annual basis. And so we are in a good position from a water perspective of what we have. But 29,000 acre feet of water is only good if that water's there. And so that's the challenge.
That's our water rights. On paper, we've city over the years has purchased water rights 29,000 acre feet of water rights, right? So
Yes.
that's part of the conversation.
Yes.
We call it like the water portfolio.
Yes.
The documentation. And then we have wet water we talk about it, is that it can be available, right?
Yeah, so we purchased those. Taxpayers paid for that water allocation in Lake Havasu City. And so when the law of the river was being litigated back in the 30s and 40s and when the dam systems were being built, they estimated that the river would produce about 16.5 million acre feet of water a year. It is now like in the 12 to 13 million acre feet of water is what's actually happening with the drought system. Lake Havasu City is in a pretty good spot because Lake Havasu actually is a basin in the river system, and Lake Havasu stays about the same depth year round. As you know, it fluctuates just around 6 to 10 inches. But because of CAP, which is a large water user and entitlement holder, sending water down to central Arizona and to the Phoenix area, and then the Metropolitan Water Organization, which is also an entitlement holder, taking water to Southern California, about 40 million users, us included, use the Colorado River for water. And with that, their straws are at the south end of our basin. So we're in a good position for that. Now, what could occur during all of this, depending on the hydrology of the river, is it could say, as Jess said, on paper, we have 29,000 acre feet of water. We're using roughly 15,000 acre feet of water. They could come and say to us and all users, that the hydrology of the river has changed, and as such, we need everyone to take a 10% cut. That's not on the table right now. I'm just talking very high level right now.
Scenarios.
Yes, and so if that's the case, yeah, we would have to do things. We would have to quit using water in the ways that we're using it now. The majority of water used out of the Colorado River is across the entire basin, is for outdoor uses, so agriculture, landscaping, pools, all of those types of things. And so we're good stewards of water in Lake Havasu City. We have the water to support the growth that we have within our community. We're at the table for the post-2026 guideline discussions. We're working with the Arizona Department of Water Resources. We're working with all of the other entities, the Reconsultation Committee, which is the Governor's Water Committee. So we're at all of these things, and knowing that and making sure that it's known that Lake Havasu City and other river communities do not have any other option than Colorado River water. So when Jess talks about water portfolios, lots of communities have a variety of water. So they have Colorado River water, they have groundwater, they might have Verde Valley River water. They lots of different portfolios. We don't have that because our water table is so close to the river that anything that we pull goes against that allocation. So whatever happens, we don't get to do what everyone else gets to do and diversify the water portfolio. We only have this one opportunity. And that's why councils long before ours and our council has done a good job securing our water future by having water entitlements that were going to sustain the future growth in the planning documents that we did. So I know it's a concern. We're all over it. It's a concern for over 40 million people. It's a concern for 7 basin states and Mexico. It's a concern for the United States. And everyone is working very, very hard to ensure water futures for the Southwest. And Jess, if you want to address the question about industrial and runabout.
In Riverboat, sure, yeah. But first on the water, you can see that it's a concern, and we all have to do our fair share and our part to conserve water. So let's never forget that. And whether you're in Havasu or in the Southwest, it's our duty, our job is to make sure that we're minimizing our water footprint to the best that we can, right? We still want to live our lives, of course. But there's lots of things that we can do that we aren't aware of that we could do that has an impact. That ripple effect is good. Industrial crack sealing. So yeah, if you look at industrial between Acoma and Lake Havasu Avenue, it's what the heck is the city doing? You guys chip sealed halfway down industrial, and you left the other half in the same condition. What we did do is on that remaining balance of industrial where the chip seal was in place is that you saw the crack seal that was placed down on industrial. And with the anticipation is that we want that crack seal to sit for 12 months, and then we'll come back and finish the chip seal on industrial. So you'll see that part of our road project, our annual maintenance, road maintenance project. That'll take place. That'll include the balance of industrial over there. So that's coming. That'll be programmed. That'll be in the 2026 road program. On Riverboat, you've seen cracks in the road, and we've put down crack seal, and now the crack seal is in need of replacement, and come back and do something, or we need to do something with returns to in regards to a new pavement project. We have a lot of roads, we have a lot of impacts, we have a lot of crack seal that's out there. We're doing the best we can, and I'm very, very proud of our Public Works team and our streets division for identifying new creative approaches when it comes to roads, and making sure that we're doing the best we can to extend the life of our existing roads, right? So, one second, David, off microphone, and I'll get you. We are thinking about researching the possibility, maybe something we can announce here in the next couple of months, of how can we increase the amount of crack seal that we're applying throughout the community. So right now, what we have is an annual crack seal program. Once a year, we contract with a contractor that comes in and puts down a crack seal at locations that need it the most. And we need more of that. So we're trying to do some research, come up with some creative approaches and ideas on what that would look like in terms of getting a riverboat and hundreds of additional miles of road within Havasu to be better maintained for the long term. There's lots of stuff that we're trying to do to improve it. The lateral cuts in our roads, what does that mean? Making sure that we have good standards when those are filled back in with the asphalt and the hot mix, to our crack seal, to the different approaches we're having with whether it's a mill and fill, which is expensive in context, and to a chip seal. But even on the chip seal side, that we're looking at different chip seal approaches that make sense. Pre-coated chip seal, a larger rock chip seal that helps us. And we've seen some of that as we have done in the last year, especially in Havasu. So we get it. Our roads are constantly on the brain. I got your pictures. You dropped them off at City Hall. Thank you for that. I drove Riverboat and took a closer look at it myself as well too. And then I passed along that information and the pictures to our street division and Public Works. And it's you're helping further the conversations within the city team on how can we do a better job, and how can we extend the existing dollars we have to do more with the same amount of money. So.
Dave, I'll come back to you. Dave, they can't hear you at home. I'll come back to you.
Thank you. I have several related questions concerning the general plan and the zoning. The general plans paints the big picture, but the devil is in the details of what you do with the zoning code. And in Mountain View Estates, we have a situation where it's zoned RMH, but when you read the fine print, there's an allowance for R1 in that. So that allows people that want to build a site-built home to cheat on the zoning code because of the difference in the minimum square foot lot size that's required. And so my question is, do you plan to go through the zoning code after you do the general plan? Do you plan to go through the zoning code to take a look at all those little fine print exceptions? And then I would be interested in seeing the 17 factors in the 5 categories. And then the second question is, what happens if the voters reject the general plan?
So the first question is, yes. So it's the overarching planning document, and the details, or the devil is in the details. So we need engagement. So make sure people from your association get involved and say, hey, this is what happened during the 2016 general plan, and we will be updating the zoning code to support the general plan, but things might get missed. And so that's why people that are impacted by that need to let us know, and we can get that changed. The factors are available on the website, so you can see as they were boiled down. You can go to lhcaz.gov. You'll be able to see all of those factors that are taken into consideration and are required by the statute. And the final question was, remind me your last one. Oh, if it gets rejected by the voters. Yeah, so if the voters don't approve it, that would be a bad deal, just because we spent 18 months of planning. But if they don't, then the current one remains in effect. And
we do it again. Current one remains in effect, and we do it again.
Until we get it right and
until the voters accept
supported by the voters.
Just a comment on the commons and the awnings that are being built. Here they're going out for bid. I hope that local fabricators were encouraged to bid on the project, because there's not really that much complicated to it once you see what's already been built. I'd like to see local fabricators have a chance.
Yeah, no, great question. We get that a lot about local contractors, and somehow when we do it, it's like the hammer is thrown over the city. Like, you need to use local contractors. So we have state procurement laws. We have to follow a very specific process in doing so.
Chapter 36 of the Arizona Revised Statutes guides the entire process.
Yeah, and so as they do that, the contractors have to do their side, and so they have to be willing to present a bid on that project. If a local bidder doesn't bid on it, it has nothing to do with the city. It might have to do with the state code. They're like, that is just too much, and I don't want to have to go through that process, and so I'm not going to provide a bid. But we go out of our way. Amelia, you're engaged in many of our meetings. Second pool. So those discussions, and we had pool builders come to the council meeting and say, I can build that pool. I can build that pool. I can build that pool. And then we went and put it out. And we went through the process to say, hey, show us your qualifications. That's it. So the easiest way in procurement is to say, hey, can I do this? And does your company have the right insurance and the right license and the right things? None of the people that said, I can build it, put in a bid. I mean, not even a bid, just a portfolio. So I just wanted to grab on that for a minute, because it's almost like the city gets the blame that you don't ever hire local contractors. We would love nothing more than have local people. Not only would it save money on mobilization, because local people live here already and we don't have to pay for hotel rooms and or accommodations of some sort, but it also puts our citizens to work. It also has a sense of pride. Not that contractors from out of town don't have pride, but the ones that live here, how prideful is it when you're driving down the street and you have your children in a car and you're like, I built that. I mean, it's a very prideful moment. We would love nothing more than local contractors to bid on every project, and we'd love nothing more than local contractors to be awarded those contracts. But it's really not the city. We have to follow the law.
So there's a state statutes in place in terms of how we solicit bids and get qualifications, and basically how we line up projects. How do you get a designer and a contractor to build things in Lake Havasu City? Well, it's all guided by many, many pages in the Arizona Revised Statutes. So those things over the years were put in place for specific reasons. The state law wants to ensure and require that we're not hiring, my brother or my sister to build these projects, right? We don't want families it's got to be a very professional, organized solicitation and a scoring criteria that takes place to ensure that taxpayer dollars are used wisely, that we're picking the most qualified contractors and the most cost-effective bids within reason, right? For these projects. So all these rules were put in place for really good intentions. Is that we want to make sure it's a fair playing field as the city does business for construction. But over the years, there's so much contained within the statutes, and we follow them the best we can. We try to translate as much as we can. We try to minimize the difficulty with our procurement process. But if given the opportunity as a city, and we didn't rely on state statutes to guide that process, we'd be doing something completely different in terms of our process. That would make it easier for our local contractors to take a look at it. Still, by maximizing cost effectiveness and identifying the most qualified people to do the work. So no one's going to hire a crappy plumber to come to your house that's going to charge you lots of money. That's not But if we had the opportunity, we'd have a completely different process in place to guide that. So we do our best to communicate as best we can. We talked about Main Street Commons. We talked about restrooms and concession buildings and shade structures. We talk about the second pool. We have qualified contractors within Lake Havasu City that we need to connect with to work on these projects, but we're having difficulty making that connection. And some of that is just because of we have a lot of qualified contractors, but the admin side of things, how to interpret this process and submit the qualifications the right way, and how does that work? There's a bit of a disconnect there with our contractors. It's not their fault. It's not the city's fault. There's a disconnect that we need to bridge. Councilmember Diaz and I have had lots of conversations. Other council members and the mayor as well, but Councilmember Diaz and I have had conversations on how do we bridge that gap. How do we connect more so with our local contractors, and how do we get them to work on our projects? The pride, the impact of the local economy, all the good things associated with local contractors. The city isn't paying for contractors in other areas of Arizona to move their equipment and their employees, and the cost associated with housing their employees as part of a project. Nothing would make me happier than for that solicitation to list all of our local contractors and good people in Lake Havasu City. So the conversations that we've been having have a lot to do with maybe some type of a forum or a way to engage our local building community with how to do business with the city. And that would imply, that would also include how to do business with the county and some of those processes that's out there. So we want to get in a room with our local contractors. We want to have conversations and say, here's kind of the process. We want to engage, and we want to hear your questions and try to bridge that gap the best we can. So we can't force you to bid on projects, but we sure would love if you did it, and maybe a conversation or 6 or 60 is the way to go for us to make that connection. So we're trying. We'll get there.
We talked 2 hours yesterday about this.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we have a program in partnership with the Chamber Alliance that is actually our development services team is going to be teaching local contractors how to do that. It's actually coming up in the next several weeks. So we will be doing that. And Jess talks about the laws are meant to be for fairness. Don't forget, it's as fair as it can be when we have a budget that's approved, that the people bidding on it can look at our budget and say this is how much money they have approved for, and miraculously the number is that number. So I mean, we try to be as fair as possible. We have to follow those laws. But are we to Dave or yes? Yeah.
You had a shot.
Yeah.
Yes, my question is for sewer, water, our monthly bill. I'm a minimum water user. My bill is basically $92 a month, which is basically $1,100 a year. My question is that going to be stabilized for the next fiscal year, or are we getting more increases for water or sewer or trash? I assume trash always goes up, but I was just curious, what are we seeing down the tube for the next fiscal?
Yeah, no, great question. So last year, the city council had considered our rate study. So we went and did a full rate study of water and sewer for the next, we actually looked out 20 years, but then we brought it down to 10 and then for 5 years. What were we going to need to ensure that we had the proper water and wastewater infrastructure? The water main project that Jess had mentioned earlier in the coffee, those types of projects that minimize breaks, minimize interruptions to the people we provide water and wastewater services to. What is it going to cost for training and chemicals and all of the things that it goes into making this happen, and modeled out in that 5-year rate study what the rates would need to be. And the council adopted a 5-year rate strategy that had the least impact to the rate payers as possible, but did pepper out rates for rate increases for all 5 years. And so you will be seeing a rate increase. Actually, maybe the bill you got this month might have had that rate increase on it, but that was what the council approved, to have very small incremental rate increases to fulfill what the program of work was going to be operating and maintenance, as well as capital on our water and wastewater.
Yeah, you mentioned like the $92 that you get in that monthly bill. That's water, that's sewer, and that's trash, right? And then so we are contracted with public services. We do the billing for public services to make that as easy and convenient for our residents as possible. So it's about $50 for sewer, $15-20 for public services, and the balance of that is your water bill on that one. So there are programmed increases in the water and sewer as of September 1st every year for the next couple of years, but we're talking about small percentages. So if you know exactly what your monthly bill is, you're going to notice it because your bill is $92 every single month. But you're looking at $5-ish is probably what you're going to see on a $92 bill. So that's a number I'm throwing out that's out there.
Yeah. There is a rate calculator.
Last month.
Yeah, there is a rate calculator on the website.
I mean,
Yeah.
I wasn't here last month, so my bill, when it was $92 and I'm not in town,
Yeah.
that means it's got to be the bare minimum to every resident in this town who has trash and sewer, and except the people that are on their own sewer system.
Yeah.
So that's why I was inquiring about that. So
Okay.
I'm minimum person, and everyone else I'm talking that I have friends, they're all looking at their bill. When you look at water to sewer ratio at $1 a water, $5 a sewer, that's always a concern because our system has maintenance.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a rate calculator for citizens that want to take a look at their bill. They probably already got the bill already in the mail, but it's already programmed in based on.
The goal here we're trying to achieve is incremental blips in comparison. We don't want spikes. What we saw in Unisource rates last year were staggering. People have no control and no ability to plan ahead or even understand what's happening. We want small 2-3% increases as opposed to a $1 million increase when it comes to Unisource. So.
Or no increase. I mean, it is based on what the needs are. I mean, it's not just to continue to increase each year. I mean, we went through a full analysis.
Oh yeah, these are not. We don't just raise them because it's that time of the year and it's time to raise. No, it's all tied to our water sewer main replacement programs, all the infrastructure, our water treatment plant, our wastewater treatment plants. It's a direct tie to cost of the system. We have a non-for-profit water system. We have a non-for-profit sewer system, and that's very, very important. That we don't have EPCOR within the main portions of Lake Havasu City. Our friends and some of our residents on the north side of Havasu have EPCOR. Ask them what their bill in comparison to what we're experiencing here in Lake Havasu City with a non-for-profit as opposed to a for-profit. Our friends in Bullhead City went through a condemnation. They spent $120 million to condemn and buy that utility company just to get it out of the private sector's hands into a nonprofit city's hands to try to minimize the impacts of the costs associated with providing water and sewer. A very long answer to a very poignant question, but hopefully that helps. Yeah.
All right, Dave, you're going to be our last question, then we're going to wrap up.
Okay, my question to you, just to correct what you just said about industrial.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to go all the way to 95.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to clarify that because you stopped at.
I said Lake Havasu Avenue instead of 95?
Yeah.
Thank you, Dave. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you all for joining us today. We are going to be back just in 3 weeks on Friday, October 3rd, 8:30. Please, we'd love to see you. As we always like to do, we want to end with fun facts. So we'll give you some fun facts. But before I do that, I want to thank Steve in the control room who makes sure that people at home can watch this. Big thank you to Allie and Jerry from the city that make sure that all of the programming, there are producers, they make sure that we can make this happen. But this is Constitution Week is coming up. Constitution Day is on September 17th. So we're going to talk about fun facts about the Constitution. So there are Constitution events planned during Constitution Week. Take a look if you have an interest. But the Daughters of the American Revolution will be doing a bell ringing ceremony on Constitution Day, September 17th. A couple of things. The signing of the Constitution was September 17th of 1787. At 81 years old, Benjamin Franklin was the oldest person to sign the Constitution. George Washington and James Madison were the only presidents to sign the Constitution. The U.S. Constitution has 4,400 words and is the oldest, shortest written constitution of any major government in the world. So 4,400 words, and it's the shortest of any major government. There are 27 amendments to the Constitution. Of course, the first 10 is what makes up the Bill of Rights. And the who do you think is often referred to as the father of the Constitution? Does anyone have? Madison, James Madison is the father of the Constitution. There were 55 delegates to the Constitutional Convention, and although only 39 of the delegates signed the actual document, 6 men signed both the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. That's George Clymer, Benjamin Franklin, Robert Morris, George Reed, Roger Sherman, and James Wilson. And of the spelling errors in the Constitution, Pennsylvania, above the signers' names, is the most glaring. So they misspelled the word Pennsylvania, even they were in Philadelphia. The original Constitution is displayed at the National Archives in Washington, D.C., but when Pearl Harbor was bombed, they moved it to Fort Knox for safekeeping. So, but America's amazing, and let's celebrate our Constitution, and thank you for being here. We'll see you next time.